What's good, everybody? This is PRW. Welcome back. I'm recording this video at 1:30 in the morning because I have insomnia and I can't fucking sleep. But big news, I guess if you want to consider this big news, WWE released a shit ton of people today. There's a bunch of names on here. I'm sure there's going to be more. Before I get into it, though, I'm going to say something real quick because I think this is important. Or actually, I don't think it's important. This is very important. When everybody comes, eventually is going to say, TKO is the devil, Triple H is, he's Satan, X amount, whatever. You need to understand something. WWE, and by extension TKO, are businesses where people get into the business to make money. It's the same thing for any job. If you do shit at your job, do you expect to still have a job? Obviously not. If you do, then you're delusional. It comes down to, do these talents make the WWE and TKO money? If they don't, they're going to get fired. That's the reality of it. Does it suck that people have to lose their job? Of course. I've been through that plenty of times. But is the world fair? No. You actually need to prove that you deserve a job. It's fucking bad. Get out of my way. And a lot of these talents on here fucking sucked. And so let's get into it. The first one was Braun Strowman. Now this is the second fucking time that this guy has been released. And let me just say this about Braun Strowman. The hottest period of his career was back in 2017 to 2018, where they were pushing him to squash jobbers and never really gave the guy a character. But then we come to find out this guy is awful on the mic. He has no charisma and clearly was not ready to carry the company. Because to be the face of the company, or even to be WWE champion, you need to be good at what you do. And the unfortunate thing about Braun Strowman is that the guy never improved on the mic. He never got a character. He flopped around his face and heel forever. There was really nothing here. So inherently, I don't blame WWE or TKO or Triple H or whoever the fuck makes the releases for letting this guy go. The only thing he really had was a look. And I will admit, him being WWE champion inherently is more believable than Cody Rhodes. But then again, when you realize the guy has no character or charisma, why would you care? The one thing that they should have done is given this guy a manager. He needed somebody to talk for him while he was the menacing big guy in the background, just like what Brock Lesnar was. That's how they should have done it, but they fumbled, evidently. Now, where do I see this guy going? I don't know. Honestly, get back into bodybuilding. You can make some money there. I don't know where half these fucking talents are going. I honestly, with Braun, he never improved, so why keep him around? The next one, this one I saw on Twitter, the preference. This release got, by far and away, probably the most hate. And I don't get it. It's Dakota Kai. What I'll say about Dakota Kai is that more than likely the reason she was fired was because of her injury history. There is no doubt in my mind that this was one of the big reasons. And what I have to say to that is, is that's completely valid. Availability is the best availability. Shout out to Casual Q. Because if you can't be there to do your job, you're just dead weight. And Dakota Kai was just like her friend Tegan Nox, way too injury prone. Both knees had knee braces. She's injured people in the ring. What else do you want from her? And let me ask this stuff to the fans. Where exactly did you envision where'd you envision Dakota to go? Because it clearly wasn't the main event. To be in the main event, you gotta be fucking healthy. So it wasn't gonna be there. Mid-card, maybe, but she's too boring for the mid-card. I don't understand why a lot of these shitty wrestlers have fans. Because from an entertainment value, you get nothing from Dakota Kai. You get nothing outside of banger matches. But she can't even deliver the banger matches because she's fucking barely there. So do I blame Noseman for not pushing her or getting behind her fully? No, inherently I do not blame him. And for people saying, oh, it's his fault for not putting her on the show, why should she be on the show? You're telling me she deserves to be on the show more than Liv Morgan, Rhea, Bianca, Bailey? You know, people that are actually there? That's crazy to me. So, with Dakota Kai, if you want my honest opinion, she should have been fired years ago, or should have just stayed in fucking NXT, because she clearly wasn't ready for the workload on the main roster. So, whatever. Dakota Kai gets released. Who gives a shit? Next up, Shayna Baszler. Unironically, is the ugliest chick on this list. Surprisingly. This is somebody who, on the main roster, never fucking did shit. Never won any titles except for the tag titles with Ronda. And honestly, when Ronda left, I thought Shayna was on her way too. But for some reason, Triple H kept her around. She's another NXT Black and Gold darling. Triple H loved her down there. She's another one that had no charisma, had no discernible gimmick. We're not the Queen of Spades. Yeah, well, they never fucking made that a character. It was just a nickname. Just like a lot of these fucking things. Just like Mommy from Rhea Ripley. It's not a gimmick, it's a fucking nickname. So I don't count that as a gimmick. Shayna could have been something. I'm not saying main eventer. I'm not even saying novelty act. Maybe mid-card. But just like the problem, the thing that sets her apart from Ronda is that Ronda is a legitimately badass woman. You could take her seriously in that role. The moment Shayna Baszler opens her mouth, all mystique or wonder of her being a badass chick goes right out the fucking window. The biggest mistake, just like Braun Strowman that Triple H did for her, is never giving her a mouthpiece. Because you could have pushed her as a badass woman. A former MMA person who beats people up. It's as simple as that, but they didn't do it. Now then again, and I'm going to get some flack for this, she's ugly. I hate to be that guy, right? But women, just as much as the dudes, like their physique matter, that does matter, women's looks also matter, because inherently, most of your fucking fan base are dudes who don't want to see ugly women. I understand you can't change that for Shayna, but at the very least, if you were going to fucking push her, you should have gave her a manager. And you failed. You fucking failed. So, I mean, realistically, what were you supposed to do with her? Nothing. You can't put her face on a billboard. She's putrid to look at. A straight man looks at that, they're like, what the fuck is that? She was never a proven success for ratings, never sold a fucking dime in merch, and didn't matter outside of fucking Ronda Rousey. And then she does this Pure Fusion Collective, which is just, the only marketable person in there was Sonya, but she was released months ago. So I'm predicting, next up, see you fucking later, Zoe Stark, it's fucking deserved. The next two, because they were a package deal, were Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Now, these chicks, they're okay. Like, they're not ugly or anything. They're actually decently good-looking chicks. But they were never going to be anything outside the tag division, let's be honest. And I think at the end of the day, if you had talents like these two in catering, doing nothing, releasing them was the right move. Now, I understand you could have pushed them in the tag division, but even with these two in the tag division with Liv and Raquel, they are not popular enough, marketable enough. That's the problem. There wasn't time invested in these two, and if there was, they could have been something in the tag division, but evidently, here we are, them getting released. I mean, I never saw any of these, I didn't see these two by themselves, I can't rate their gauge. I'm sure they're both really bad at promos. That's another thing. So, them being released, it's like, alright, whatever. The next one up kind of baffled me, because I thought they were going to do something with her, but they never did. Cora Jade. Now, just like Dakota Kai, I'm sure one of the main factors of her getting cut was her injury history. And trust me, that's fucking there. That's fair enough for anybody saying Triple H the devil. The injuries are a problem. But unlike Dakota Kai, Cora Jade had something there. Yeah, she wasn't the best in ring, but so weren't the fucking divas in the 90s and early 2000s. You think any of them were fucking good in the ring? No. I mean, except for a couple, but mostly the guys fucking loved them. Why do you think people look so highly on that era of divas wrestling? because they were very attractive and entertaining to watch. And that could have been Cora Jade. I'm not too sure if she would have been a main eventer, but in the mid-card, she could have been a great novelty act, or at the very least could have been a valet. That's the one thing I don't get, is that with these chicks being released, like Kaden Carter, or Katana Chance, or Cora Jade, why couldn't they transition to be possibly valets for somebody? I mean, that all depends if they can talk. I know Cora can talk on the mic, but there are other roles for wrestlers instead of just strictly wrestling. Look at back in the day, Trish Stratus was a manager for like, what, 2 to 3 years? Before she ever stepped in a fucking ring to wrestle. I don't understand, if you're going to cut these women, you couldn't have found something for Cora to do? Because I know Cora's skill level. She's okay in the ring. Her injury problems are an issue. Nobody's doubting that. But she's great looking. She went out and got a boob job to make herself look even better. But instead we're like, alright, fuck Cora Jade, and we're going to move the fuck on. I don't... This one baffled me. This was like one of the more surprising ones on the list, I'll tell you that. The next one is Gigi Dolan. This one kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really baffled. I don't know why she was cut. I thought she was doing good in Chemical X with Tatum and who else is in there? Shotzi. I thought she was doing alright. They just had a fucking match 2 weeks ago for the tag titles, and now she's cut. That's very bizarre to me. This woman is very good looking, and she's a good mic worker. So why the fuck was she cut? I'm guessing it's because she wasn't doing much, but that's on Shawn Michaels. That is on Shawn Michaels, and if Triple H has found his fucking way into NXT, that's his problem as well. This one was also baffling. I don't think her or Cora should have been cut. And unironically, in a stream like 4 months ago, one of my viewers pointed this out on Twitter. I had predicted she was going to get released because I didn't think she'd get over on the main roster with Triple H booking. And unironically, 4 or 5 months later, here we are, and she's cut. So if Gigi gets cut right now, what about Shotzi and Tatum Paxley? Because both of them, all three of them were talented. That's the craziest thing. So now Gigi's gone. Is Tatum going to get cut? Is Shotzi going to get cut? I guess we'll find out. This one was completely undeserved. I could have done, if I was booking, I could definitely push Gigi Dolan. This was bullshit. The next on the list was some dude in NXT named Eddie Thorpe. I have no idea who this dude is. I never watched any of his matches. I've never seen anything that relates to him. All I know is that I believe he's Dakota Kai's boyfriend. So I guess if you're going to cut Dakota Kai, you cut this dude. Who gives a shit? The next one was Jakara Jackson. I'm guessing the reason she was cut is because they want to do something else with Lash Legend. Fair enough. I haven't watched any of their matches. I do know that Lash is talented, but I don't know too much about Jakara. She's okay looking. Excuse me. I pointed this out on Twitter because one of my followers was like, I can't believe they broke up Jakara and Lash and whatever. I said, outside of the tag division, what would Jakara really do? Because she's not going to be the next level superstar. That's what Lash is for. So Jakara could have been our manager. I don't know. I don't care. She'll probably go to AEW. Like, let's be real. She'll probably go to AEW and job out to Mercedes, because that's where all the WWE washouts go anyway. And the final one, or is the trio, it's Gallus. It's Joe Coffey. Who else is that? It's fucking Joe Coffey. Yeah, Joe and Mark Coffey, and then Wolfgang. These dudes have been around since NXT UK. Nobody cares about these two. Or all three of them collectively. All three of them were boring. They were overweight. Didn't look like wrestlers. Really boring. Can't cut promos. I mean, what realistically were you supposed to do with these guys? They should have been, honestly, back when NXT UK was around and when that dissolved, they should have been cut then. They've been floaters in NXT for fucking 6 or 7 years. It's about damn time. So, also, Javier Benural, I'm guessing that's Javi Baez or whatever, he got cut too. It's just like, who gives a fuck? notice a lot of these talents, like with Gallus and Javi, they were all in NXT for like years now and never did much. A hot take here, which it shouldn't be, but if you've been in NXT for like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, like you're never gonna be called up. Just get the fuck out of here. It's just like Shawn Spears, who evidently is right back in NXT. He was in NXT for like a decade, goes to AEW, and then comes back just to be put right back in NXT. So I would say that the talents I wouldn't have cut Braun, assuming I could have found him a manager. Kaden and Katana, they're okay. I'd probably keep them as well. And then Gigi and that's about it. Everyone else, this is pretty justified. Everyone else is boring. And for everyone who's going to say, oh, you're an asshole for this, dude, it's business. If you were shit at your job or didn't make the company you were working for money, you would get fired too. I don't know why we have to treat WWE like it's any different than any fucking job. Everyone that was employed in WWE were private contractors who were getting paid. That's who the fuck they were. So, if they weren't making these people money, they're going to get fired. Does it suck that people lose their job? Yes. But should it affect you? No. Personally. So, hopefully everyone on this list finds good opportunities later down the line, and hopefully everything works out for them. This is PRW, talking about the releases that just happened, and if there are any more, I'll make more videos. Peace out.